Welcome back. Time to bring in our panel right now to talk about this week's top stories here in Indiana and beyond. This week, we're joined right here in studio by former State Democratic Party Chair Robin Winston and former GOP lawmaker Mike Murphy. UIndy political science professor Dr. Laura Wilson with us as well as Politico's Adam Wren, who's also the author of the Importantville newsletter on Indiana politics. All right, Laura, I'll start with you here. And the devastating scene in Florida, top of mind, of course, this week. Governor DeSantis, President Biden, they have been in communication now. Both have said they're putting their political differences aside, as they should right now, to help the people of Florida.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the ideal, working across party lines. A natural disaster doesn't belong to Republicans or Democrats. It has no political party, but it's going to impact everyone. And I think you see this rally around the flag effect oftentimes when it's something negative, but it gives you the opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to see, look, we can work together. We can ultimately help have positive impact. And certainly with Hurricane Even and the devastation we've seen in Florida and now moving up the coast, it's absolutely necessary.
It's been a terrible scene, no doubt, along the coast. Adam, certainly a possibility that these two could be up against one another in 2024. It's also somewhat reminiscent of President Obama and Chris Christie embracing after Hurricane Sandy, though perhaps not likely that we'll see President Biden and DeSantis embrace that same way.
Yeah, this is an interesting political test for DeSantis. I mean, he has not faced a hurricane yet in his time as governor. That's a sort of a tradition that every Florida governor goes through. Jeb Bush, the former governor there, handled, I think, 5 or 6. And this is a test for him because, you know, when he was a congressman, he voted against federal aid for hurricane relief. And so you are seeing him pivoting to a more sort of, practical approach on this. I think that bodes, interestingly, for his candidacy if he runs for president.
Beyond all the politics we talk about on this show, this is what government's supposed to do, right, to help out in a situation like this. All right, speaking of the president, Robin, also this week we saw a lot of talk about his unfortunate gaffe involving the late Jackie Walorski that drew a lot of criticism, more so perhaps after the response from the White House press secretary on this. Should any of this been handled differently in your view?
Well, yeah, he made a mistake, but remember what he said when she passed away. He did acknowledge her. He talked about her efforts on world hunger. He even made the difference between saying, rarely did she support what I proposed, but he acknowledged her at her death. And, you know, if he signs the bill for the VA up there to be named in her honor, that'll just continue it on. It's just a mistake.
Mike, what is your take on all this?
Well, I would suggest that, it normally, I mean, it's an embarrassing gaffe, obviously. Everybody makes mistakes. But in this case, I think it was, it would have been easy to joke about it, but I think it's sad more than it's funny. And I think it shows a diminished capacity.
Adam, what other reaction are you hearing to all of this here in Indiana?
I was struck by the grace of Jackie Walorski's family, who spoke to the New York Post and essentially said, the president's doing, the best he can do. I think that's a profound exhibition of grace on their part. This is a gaffe that really stands out because President Biden is someone who is so in tune with those who are grieving and seems to really take it to heart. He spent time with Evan Bayh and Evan Bayh's son when Susan Bayh passed away, and he really carries these things. And so for him to forget this in this moment is somewhat inexplicable.
All right, I know there'll probably be more to say on that issue here in the weeks to come. Laura, meantime, we're also talking about the midterms here. We're into October now, so the midterms are quickly approaching, a little more than a month away right now. And again, with early voting becoming more and more popular, more and more people could be making up their minds here in the coming days and weeks, with turnout expected to be pretty high this year for a number of different reasons.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no shortage of issues to impact voters that will drive them to the polls. I think when you see early voting, and that really changed the dynamic of campaigns, many people make their decision up really early, well before November 8th. It leaves little time for an October surprise, quite frankly, and we are in the beginning of October, so we can wait to see what comes out. But I imagine many people are going to be making their decisions, and it's always a friendly reminder that October 11th is the deadline for Indiana to be registered to vote. It's always good to confirm that.
Coming right around the corner. Mike and Robin, what are your expectations for each of your parties in the midterms, and why do you think your party could have the chance to do better than expected in the midterms? Robin, I'll start with you.
Well, I think we got some outstanding candidates, particularly our statewide candidates. I think are going to surprise some people. Early voting's already started. In fact, in some counties, Hamilton, they're already processing absentee ballots. Allen, already 1,300 absentee ballots already processed. That's before October 12th. So people have lined up to vote. Some of these people are ready to vote right now. So I think you're going to see a good turnout, a good solid turnout. I still think we're going to keep our eye on how the Roe versus Wade decision is going to impact our elections.
Mike, what's your response to that?
Well, I'd have to say, first of all, the Republicans are going to take the U.S. House back, maybe not by as much of a margin as we originally thought based on the court decision back in July. I think we will not take back the Senate because we have 3 pretty goofy candidates, one in Georgia, one in Ohio, and one in Pennsylvania.
That could still be a 50-50 Senate potentially, too.
Well, yeah, but I
Which,
just
of
don't
course,
think
tiebreaker
we'll take it back. On the Indiana statewide, you know, Laura, you mentioned October surprise. We got ours a day early.
Yeah.
And that's going to
Secretary of
be
State's
a
race,
lot
yeah.
to deal with over the next several days.
Let's talk about that here. Adam, the Secretary of State's race, candidate Diego Morales, now facing some allegations dealing with some alleged incidents of sexual harassment in his past. He and his campaign put out a statement on Friday flatly denying those accusations.
Yeah, his campaign essentially, you know, said in a statement that that the reporting done by our friend Abdul Hakim Shabazz in his cheat sheet, they say that he had a disclaimer that it said that it was, you know, contains gossip, rumor, and innuendo.
Something he always has
Yeah,
on that newsletter.
Yeah, but choosing to publish it in the cheat sheet rather than IndyPolitics.org, his news site, you know, I think gave Republicans a lot of chance and a lot of wiggle room to sort of deny, you know, some of the reporting that's in that. And so I think that you know, that reporting, which is being worked on by a number of other outlets in Indianapolis, I can confirm, you know, I think that reporting in that particular outlet hurt some of the credibility of the story.
We'll see where things go from here with this particular controversy, but this is a campaign, a race that's already faced a number of different controversies already.
It really has, and we have a lot of focus on this one in particular for good reason in terms of the candidates and the importance of Secretary of State races. And that's not just in Indiana, that's nationwide. People recognize how valuable this statewide office is. Used to feel really innocuous as, oh, it's just another executive office, they do administrative work, but recognizing how valuable the work they do, especially in elections, and given the candidates and the controversies we've seen in Indiana, I feel like this is going to be the driving race, quite frankly, for many voters turning out in November.
Robin, Mike, how significant will these allegations turn out to be in this race?
I'm less concerned about all the allegations and all those things as the guy said that the election of Joe Biden was not legitimate, then reversed himself with an interview right here. He first talked about paring down the number of days that people could vote, which we just talked about, the need for people to have more days to vote. And he's part of a cadre of Republicans that are running nationwide in hopes to be in position in the event that the 24 election is another contentious. Those are the things the Secretary of State's charged with, is the fair adjudication of elections.
Mike, real quickly, you think this is a race Republicans will still win?
Yeah, I still think they'll win it because of demographics. But the problem is, for some reason, we've got off on this thing where you can separate character from qualifications. Character is part of qualifications. I think Diego owes the public and myself as a voter an explanation.
Okay, we've got to leave it there. We're going to have much more coming up. The Indiana National Guard deploying to Florida now to help in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. We'll hear from them coming up next.